All right. Manoj Shyamalan, born in Mahi, India, a small town in southern India, moved to the U.S. when he was 6 weeks old. As we said, he grew up in the Philadelphia area, attended Catholic school through 8th grade, and then an Episcopalian high school, raised as a Hindu. Currently, as of at least I think 2020, I read an interview where he says he identifies as spiritual, not religious.
Okay.
His parents wanted him to be doctors, but he wanted to be a filmmaker. He loved Steven Spielberg. His movies are so Steven Spielberg. This is his most Amblin-y movie. It even has Frank Marshall and Kathleen Kennedy, who were Steven Spielberg's big producers in the 80s and 90s, working on it. So he attended NYU Tisch School of Arts, and during college, he raised the money to make his first movie, Praying with Anger, which he also starred in. And that's a movie about where he basically plays a fictional version of himself who goes to India, and it explores the clash of sort of Western values versus Indian values and, you know, Christianity versus Hinduism. This movie played at film festivals, but it wasn't widely released. This was 1992. It's the only movie of his I haven't seen. It's not. You can watch it on YouTube, but there's no.
The title it's a good title. It's intriguing.
So his next movie, which he films in 1995.
Oh God, this one, the one I thought could not be true. I have a whole moment about this in A League of Their Own, just so you know.
Wait, sorry. What are you talking about?
I'm sorry. When we reviewed A League of Their Own, you told me this movie existed, and I freaked right out.
This would be Wide Awake, which came out in 98, but was produced in 95.
Well, she's got a baseball.
So you're talking about Rosie
O'Donnell. Sorry, also in League of Their Own.
In this movie, like, was produced in 95. She's well known, but she hadn't become like a superstar yet.
Right.
And in the meantime, she becomes a big star, especially like in kids' movies, and then she has her daytime TV show and everything. So they put her in the marketing. They put her on the poster. She's in 3.5 minutes.
Is she a nun? What is she
She's
wearing?
a nun.
Oh, okay.
But she loves sports. She talks about Jesus, and she's like, Jesus was at the plate, and Judas was throwing him a fastball.
What is the movie about?
All right.
And who's dead?
It is about a kid.
Is there a twist?
Whose grandfather dies, and this makes the kid question God.
Okay.
And so this kid is like Mel Gibson in Signs. Except he's going to go on a spiritual quest to find God, to literally find God. He wants to talk to God.
Okay.
There are these chapter headings in the movie that are like spring or like, you know,
you're watching time pass.
August. Yeah.
This boy's
One
life.
of them is literally called The Signs, December, The Signs.
Oh.
He is trying to find evidence of God. He hears things like God is in the snow, but it won't snow and the rain is washing away the snow. In the end, like in Signs, he basically gets like confirmation that God exists because a little boy at his school is like, you've always been looking for me and here I am and your grandfather's okay in heaven. And so he decides it's okay to believe. This movie sucks. I watched it last night. I'd never seen it before.
Oh, bless you.
It's really bad. Now, I have a bunch of things about this because Shyamalan made this movie for Miramax, and at the time...
He wouldn't sleep with Weinstein.
Well, before the Weinstein, before he became what he's known for now, the thing he was known for was how he was known as Harvey Scissorhands, because he'll take the movie from you and he'll cut it up.
Ugh.
Because he knows how to market a movie. And Shyamalan makes this movie, and the Weinsteins hate it. There's this quote like, quote, when Harvey and Bob first saw Wide Awake at the Tribeca screening room, Bob, according to former Miramax production head Paul Webster, told the young director, I don't think this movie can be saved. While Harvey made Knight cry, destroyed him right in front of everybody, end quote. There's a lot of interesting stuff in this from the book Down and Dirty Pictures about sort of the history of Miramax and independent film in the 90s. And I read this book like 2 weeks before the Weinstein stuff came out in 2017.
Oh, weird.
But there's all kinds of stuff.
Sign.
They're there. You just got to know what to look for.
Stop. Yield. Slow children. That's what you look for. Or Ace of Base.
Yeah. So it seems like if you didn't know all of this stuff and you watch the movie, I think like even somebody who doesn't like have awareness of how the movie industry works would be like, this seems like it was like Frankenstein together.
Okay.
Because there's narration throughout. There's a score that doesn't seem like it belongs. There's just like the most whimsical children's movie sort of score. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it would have been good if this movie hadn't been taken from him and re-edited, but as it stands, it's really difficult to watch. But what is interesting about it is it's like this is kind of the same emotional story, at least, that happens in Signs, and this is just the thing he's obsessed with.
Is proving that God exists to people, or the idea that people are always seeking?
The people are seeking. I mean, but yeah, like in Signs, you get very, very specific confirmation of God existing. But you also have the kid is asking questions to nuns like, well, if God's good, then why do bad people die and stuff like that? And them not knowing how to answer it. So this is a calamity for him. Yeah.
It's just weird. Stuart Little making another random appearance in our podcast.
He's shown up before.
Well, just I thought Gina Davis had way longer of a filmography than she does.
Yeah, she kind of.
It's not that
vanished.
long, right? And anyway, Stuart Little's in it. And I'm like, what? I can't use a clip from that bullshit. Anyway.
Yeah, so this movie's a calamity. It's really demoralizing to him, and he is locked into to Miramax. They basically own him as a director. He's contractually bound to them.
He wrote She's All That?
But he's not bound as a writer. So he does an uncredited rewrite of She's All That for Miramax. And he is the writer of Stuart Little. Okay, so
That's insanity.
So he realizes this weird provision that he's not bound to Miramax as a writer. So he says, I'm going to bet on myself. I'm going to write the best screenplay ever. And once I do that, I'll sell it, but the person who buys it has to get me out of my Miramax contract and let me direct the movie. So he writes The Sixth Sense. And this is a super hot script, and he sells it to Disney, who own Miramax. I don't get how all of this specifically works. It's like one division of Disney gets him out of another division of Disney.
Yeah, it's just politics.
Sure. The screenplay, everybody reads it and you wait all your career to read a screenplay like this. It's funny that he said, I'm just going to write the best screenplay ever.
And he fucking did it. But he seems exactly like the kind of person who just decides to do something and then does it. I mean, you're telling me that Spielberg was his idol and then he goes on to make, a huge name for himself in his own right in the same.
Yeah. And Spielberg did
genre.
stuff like going on to the Universal lot and saying, I work here. And they're like, oh, okay, sir. Can I have this vacant office? I guess so. And
what?
Yeah.
So he's a sociopath.
Just pushes his way in.
Okay.
Yeah, and I watched all the special features from the Signs DVD. It's Shyamalan in 2002. He is the height of just arrogance.
Yeah.
He's very likable, but you're like, this guy has never had a second of doubt in his life. I can never imagine. Hey guys, I thought of a little story and we're all gonna act in it and stuff, and people will just throw stuff at me. We're not gonna do that. All right, so Sixth Sense, obviously huge movie, career defining hit. It makes him a brand because that twist ending.
Right. Does he end up boxing himself in though? It seems like he has.
It seems like it had to happen, but he gets asked that question all the time and he never says that he felt that way. He said he always just did what he wanted to do, but he had sort of a tension between his artistic aspirations and knowing that he wanted to make stuff that appealed to regular people. That's
the only way he'd get to continue making the stuff he likes, is to also make a lot of money with at least every other movie, right?
Not just that, but that it's good to, it's not a bad thing to want to just entertain people, to want to make something.
The Spielberg way.
And you can do it in an intelligent way. But so he makes Unbreakable after Sixth Sense.
Did you like Unbreakable?
I like it. I don't like it as much as some people. But I've watched almost all his movies this year, so it's all very recent in my head. We watched The Sixth Sense a couple months ago with the kid, and it's great, right?
It's great.
Yeah.
Yep.
The kid knew the twist was coming, suspected it during the movie, right?
Yeah. So, but later than I did.
I didn't.
Oh yeah, in the theater.
You knew it in the theater?
I ruined it for the person sitting next to me.
What? What happened?
I said, "Oh, he's dead," and the person's like,
"What? No, he's alive. See him?" No,
it just gave me a shit look, and then the rest of the movie was kind of like, I guess he's dead.
The thing that people who want twist movies, I think, don't get is that the twist is not supposed to be
the movie.
The movie. What's great about The Sixth Sense is everything's great even before that. If the movie ends before this, it's still a great movie. And the twist just sort of deepens the themes that you've been watching and deepens your understanding of everything you've seen.
And I will say The Sixth Sense is a insanely scary movie.
I guess
The part where they shut the little boy in the
yeah, that's scary, but
him
yeah.
hearing things waiting in the tent and like just the idea of being alone in that and not wanting to share that with your family or people around you because they'll think you're crazy. It could be more damaging for you to be thought of that way, or you'll scare people to a point that they don't even want to be around you, and then you'll really be alone with it. And just the loneliness of and the distraction, and how do you have a life? It's like autism. You're seeing and hearing and smelling things that no one else is understanding, and to everyone else you just seem crazy.
And you can see it. I mean, especially if you have kids.
Yeah.
To think about them going through something and not being able to tell you, or not being willing to tell you, is so heartbreaking.
Yes, her performance is amazing. Toni Collette. She's amazing in everything.
So Unbreakable, it does make a lot of money, but it's considered a disappointment. It still makes $250 million worldwide on a $75 million budget, but it is a little more strange, very melancholy, and I think M. Night very consciously wants to make something more populist. So he sets out to write Signs, and he said basically the easiest script he ever wrote. He said it was pure joy to write this script. It's funny, he keeps saying joy when this is a depressing ass movie.
It's very bright,
bleak
though.
Movie.
It is.
But I think he must be like, oh yes, it all fits.
Yeah, I think he just loved his idea, loved the look of everything. He was feeling a gel the way that you feel a gel when you watch it.
The movies, he cites 3 movies as inspiration for Signs. He cites The Birds, Night of the Living Dead, and Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I watched The Birds a few months ago, and it's there's a lot of it in this movie. Okay, it comes out. It is an enormous hit. It is still his second biggest hit after The Sixth Sense.
Oh, wow.
Even unadjusted for inflation. But it's I think its budget was like $80 million or something. Mel Gibson got paid $20 million. This is the kind of movie that he could make now, or that anybody could make now, for $15 million. But having a big movie star, having just top of the line production values, this amazing plot of land that they got on land owned by Delaware Valley College in Pennsylvania, where they had the time and the resources to just grow cornfields. They built this little house right there on the land that some of the movie is shot in, but a lot of it is on a soundstage. And then having just the best people, having the best crew people to work on it. They just don't make them like this anymore. Let me just shout out one other person. Yeah,
because I kept thinking of Nope. I kept thinking this feels a lot like Nope.
Jordan Peele's movies remind me so much of Shyamalan, not in like he's ripping them off, in
like taking it, making it even more meaningful, and he has so many layers in his movies.
Oh, as a powerful director, strong director, wanting to execute his vision at a big level for a studio and getting to do it, and then being well received and popular, and
having such a style that a Jordan Peele movie when you see one.
That's why, I mean, nothing is more exciting than a Jordan Peele movie coming out.
Absolutely,
now, except maybe a Shyamalan movie. People, I guess let's talk a little bit about what happens after Signs, because Signs is the high point, and after that, The Village comes out 2 years later,
which I really liked.
I love The Village. It has a big opening weekend, but then a big drop off because people start telling the twist to each other.
And that's the problem with the fucking twist. That's such a big one.
But in that movie, that especially, the twist is not the point at all. I mean,
it's very effective though.
The twist is, it's not like, oh my God, that's so weird. What is interesting about it is to watch the movie after you know the twist and
which
think
I never have.
Okay, we need to watch it because to think about what makes people do this, create a whole society basically depriving their children of the modern world, and then think that's so bad, but then don't I kind of, like, all parents are raising their children in a world that they design, are choosing to give them the values that they think are good and are not exposing them to other kinds of values.
And I would have seen this in the theater, and obviously I would have been 20. So I'm sure I'd think a whole new set of thoughts about it. Having parenting done, check that off my list.
So maybe the bloom's off the rose after that. Lady in the Water.
I like that too, but I like Paul Giamatti.
This one's,
I don't remember loving it.
I only just saw it recently. It's very boring.
It's slow.
I wish it were better. And he really starts to lean on CGI, and the CGI looks like shit. CGI in Signs, there's not much of it, and I was worried that the aliens would look terrible, and I don't think they do. I think they look... it'd be better if they were just people in costumes or puppets, but it's not bad.
It's fine. They're hardly in the movie.
Yeah.
So it's very Jaws of him.
The Happening is a flop. People start... And now suddenly the M. Night name is
starting to get a little silly.
It's maybe not something you want to put on your poster. So he makes The Last Airbender and After Earth.
Wow, that's effective because I had no idea he did either of those. Wow.
And they make money. Nobody likes them. After Earth is okay, though. And it really seems like, okay, this guy's career he's now just a guy for hire, not a selling point. But he does something interesting. He says, I want to go back to making small movies. So he makes a movie called The Visit, and he self-finances it. He puts up the money himself. Okay. And that way he won't have to answer to any studios. And it's a big hit for its budget. Mm-hmm. That allows him to make Split, which he does the same thing. He puts up all the money himself, and this is an enormous hit.
Also in a farmhouse.
No, not Split.
I'm thinking of Splice. Damn it, I've never seen Split.
We watched Split. You loved it.
See, I loved it.
It's the movie, the split personality guy who kidnaps the 3 girls.
That's that movie?
And has them in a basement under the zoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, you loved it.
I love that movie.
So his career basically is back on track. It's an interesting renaissance.
You're saying that's not Black Phone, is what you're telling me?
Not Black Phone.
I thought that was Black Phone.
Kind of similar, yeah.
Okay. All right. Got it.
And now he's just kind of making interesting movies. Some are well received, some aren't. But I like almost all of these movies.
Did I see Glass?
No, because you had never seen Unbreakable.
Oh, got it.
And Split was a secret spin-off of Unbreakable. Okay. And then Glass is like the proper sequel to both. And Glass, I don't love Glass, but I'd watch it. But this guy, very interesting filmmaker and very interesting career. Careers are long. You have ups and downs, and they're fun to chart.
Did you like Old?
I did.
I did too.
And I really liked his last movie, Knock at the Cabin.
Which I still haven't seen.
It's got so much Signs in it, and it's revisiting his idea of sort of examining, well, yes, but examining the idea of God and taking seriously, if God does this, then what does that say about God? One other person I want to spotlight, we don't usually talk about cinematographers, but Tak Fujimoto shot Signs. He worked with Shyamalan a lot. He was best known for working with Jonathan Demme, and his trademark is the actor in profile basically talking at the camera.
Okay.
It's, most famously Hannibal Lecter basically talking directly to you, and it's very unsettling. So it happens a bunch of times in Signs, but the long shots of people in the distance and the camera's not moving and the shot's going along a long time, and it just makes you uneasy and makes you go like, what the fuck is going to happen?
Well, it's truly from your perspective. It's like the simplest idea is to let's literally put you in this. Mm-hmm. And you'll let someone walk up a long flight of stairs if you're not sure it's at the top. It's just as scary to be at the bottom as it would be to be right behind them. I think everyone's kind of done that too. Maybe as a kid, maybe as an adult, where you're like, I'm not going in there. So you let the person go in, and the further they get away from you, that's more terrifying than you standing there alone. So you run really quick and you get right behind them. I'm coming with you. I don't know. They do that in Bob's Burgers for one of the Halloween episodes when they're all scared to go into the, I want to call it the Maniac Mansion or Murder Mansion or something Anyway, 2 of them decide to stay outside, and then they're like, screw this, and they go in. Anyway,
it's very dangerous.
It's a very kid thing
to do.
You go first. Yeah, but I'm saying it's also dangerous to be the people who stayed behind. So you end up wanting to be together because safety in numbers. No one wants to be alone, even if they're not in the scary place.